Hello, this will be a short video on Cock Icy Ring. There's a lot of spells in this game, but most of them are very bad. I did try some other builds with physical spells, especially Thunder Overload, and it did not work. Thunderbolt Overload, but it did not work very well. It does very little damage per proc, and it did about half the damage of Icy Ring, and it's just too low damage to be usable. I wanted a physical spell because in the Warlord tree and Shadow Dancer, there's a lot of physical damage, and so you could double dip a little bit there. But it just did not work out. I went back to Icy Ring, unfortunately, because I already have a build that uses Icy Ring. The cast on crit builds just have a damage ceiling, and it's very hard to avoid. I tried to make a build with cast on crit without Exquisite Box and without some other expensive items. It's okay. I can do some damage, but I also struggle early on. Now here is a DPS test. This will show that in the present state, it's about 400 million DPS, but in the 70s and 80s, it was a struggle to do damage. I could clear tier 7s pretty well, but in this game, you want to be able to do tier 8s also, or else you're just losing on a lot of currency. I did not want to use expensive uniques in this build. There are, let's see, only 3 uniques that I use in this build. 4 uniques: Infinity Belt, 2 rings, and a necklace. But the rings and necklace, you can do this build with less than 80 FE total on those spots. Infinity Belt, I bought another very cheap one. It was less than 200. So I want to do a little more budget build this time. On Thea, if you have, especially on a cast on crit, you want lots of cooldown, and if you do not use Exquisite Box, and I tried to design this build without an Exquisite Box, you need to take Warlock for that cooldown. It helps on the number of procs per second, and it helps to keep the uptime on Thea's class buff as high as possible. This build's okay if you just want to farm tier 7s, some tier 8s, but this will not be a Uber Keegan killer. This will not be a Path of Brave 5 build at all. If you do still want to do this build, just laid out how you could do it very quickly. Just pause in the video for the talent tree and the skill setup. The attack is very important. I find it very nice to use instead of a movement ability to proc it, because daggers attack very fast and Spiral Strike is just the funnest movement ability to use in this game. It just feels better than using any other movement ability in this entire game. But if you ever want to scale the damage of a build like this very high, it is difficult because, for one, you need to buy an Exquisite Box, and not just a plain Exquisite Box. You want one of the nice ones. So you want one of the ones that costs 4 or 5k FE plus to make a build like this really good. Plus you want 2 Jumbo Ices. But then once you go to wands, it is also very difficult to proc the crits at the rate that you need to in order to take advantage of a very good Exquisite Box with lots of cooldown. So it's just cast on crit builds in this game are just very awkward. I will, however, be taking this character to 100. I'd take all my Theas to 100. And after this, I'll be making a video on my Flame Slash doing 300 Uber King kills. And I'll be logging the loot I get from it, and hopefully I get lucky. Hopefully I drop a lot of boxes. If I do get a lot of currency from the Uber King kills, I know it costs a lot to buy the keys. But if I get a lot to be able to do a Further Transmission build, I might do that, and that would be the last build I'll do this league. Because I highly prefer spell builds, but spell builds in this game are very limited. They have a ceiling, and in order to reach that ceiling, you have to spend just tens of thousands FE, and that's just too much. Alright, thank you very much, and have good hunting.